Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everyone today? So good, I hope. And ready to get artsy. So who's here? I can't see who's here just yet. Whoops. So let's see. Maybe I can see him on my... Good morning, Keels. Hi, Tam. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So I want to talk about, well, you know, I want to talk about a lot of things. Because it's like a little girlfriend time, isn't it? If boys joined us, that would be okay too. Oh, yay! Good job, Tam. I know, it is such a nice feeling to finish a card, isn't it? And then to write it out to someone and make a cute envelope and put cute stamps on it. You know, it's a whole thing, isn't it? And then send it off out into the world. I love that. I love that. So today I thought it would be a fun thing for us to talk about art crayons. We all have lots of art crayons. I have an abundance. I have I have distress crayons. I have a couple of these that are just okay, but you know, they work if you need them to. I have some Neo 2s, which are the best, I think. I have these from Faber-Castell. I have Dina Wakley scribble sticks. I have Woody 3-in-1s. I have Staedtler, which are another, these are all water soluble art crayons. Maybe I think that might be it. So I've pulled a bunch of them out to do the pomegranates today. So I pulled all kinds of them out. Good morning, Donna. And I thought that we could play with seeing how they work together, seeing how they work by themselves, seeing how they work on watercolor paper. They should all work very well on watercolor paper because they're water soluble. Oh, there you go, Tam. Good morning, Jan. How are you? Good morning, Donna. Donna and Donna. I'm so happy to see everybody. Okay, so you know, when we print on watercolor paper through our printer, we always have to trim off the long side and the short side. So I keep all of those little pieces of paper. I'm not kidding. Look, I have this glass. Does this look familiar, Keely? Papacitos. Anyway, I have this glass and I have all these little bits of paper in here that I can just pull from as I need them. So I'm going to use some of them today to play with the different kinds of art crayons and the different okay, so just like to just kind of get a feel for them. Like so the Faber-Castell, nice. Not as, okay, let's try a distress crayon. Distress crayons are super creamy. Faber-Castell, a little harder, so it's not as, what do I want to say? Not as, it doesn't, like, the distress crayons go on like lipstick almost. Okay, let's try a scribble stick. These I know too also are harder, so they're not as creamy as the distress crayons. Let's try, this is a Neo. Look how beautiful that is. And shut up, how pomegranate is that? And then what else do I have? I think I have some of the, here's the Staedtlers. They're hard too. So now we know that, right? But now let's try all of those same crayons with water. So I just have my little yogurt cup full of water, and now I'm going to dip the whole end of this into the water. Can you see that? And then I'm going to scribble. So this one, it's taken a little work for it to, that's not really moving with the water. So now we know that, right? Now let's try the Distress Crayon dipped in water. That moves well. And I'm sure because it's already so soft, but it kind of left a halo. Scribble stick, let's try that, dipped in water. Better, I think I like it better than, it's kind of crazy when you dip your when you dip your pencil in, or your crayon in water, and you start to color, you can almost feel that moment it breaks. And by break, I mean like it kind of bends to your submission. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm going to try the Neo colors. Beautiful. Like this one, I think, look how beautiful that is. And now the Staedtler. I don't have a Staedtler of this color of the, okay. So there, so do you see the, can you see the difference? Hi Donna, if I were going to recommend a art crayon, I would, of all of them, I would recommend the Neo 2s. Yesterday, Joni and Carmen and Tessa and I went on a field trip to Arizona Art Supply, our local art store. And they had open stock Neo 2s, which is so cool. So the thing that I want something that I can use in many different ways. If your budget is the determining factor, then I would, so the Neo 2s, I think they were like about $2 a piece. But you can find them in like a multi-pack for a less, less expensive. But I would get something that works well dry and wet, because what we're going to do today is we are going to paint with our art crayons. Like, I want something that I can use in lots of different ways, right? So this is just a piece of freezer paper, regular old freezer paper, and that's what I'm going to use as my palette today because it's slick. I know. That's funny, Donna. It's slick, so it can work as our, we can add water on it, it's not going to absorb any of our color, and it's cheap, right? Okay, so I'm going to mix, so my advice would be, the Distress are okay. Do you know, so this, remember this was the Faber-Castell. I would not, these are, are best only used dry, right? The Distress crayon worked well here and is probably less expensive, but you don't have the variety of colors that the Neos or the Staedtlers have. The scribble sticks were okay, dry and wet, but you don't have a huge variety of colors like the distress crayons. You have some variety, certainly, but not as much as these are true art crayons. The Neo 2s and the Statler. So I would consider that. And do your research, what works best for you. Okay, so I'm just going to start making some paint on this side. Everybody make sure you have a great big drink. Good morning, Nancy. So I think I'm going to start with the Neo color, and I think it's purple. I just love it. So I'm just going to scribble some on my palette here. And I'm going to get some water on my brush. You know what? Let's use this little, I'm going to add some water. And there, do you see we've made some paint right there? How easy peasy is that? And now let's do, I just stuck my hand in that. Of course I did. Move that. Let's just start to do a watery layer of this color, right? Remember, this is just the beginning. Remember, we're just going to keep adding colors and adding colors and adding colors. So let's see. Let's do, I have this vermilion, which is another color within a pomegranate. Kind of some orange tones. What's this one? But you can do this with whatever colors you have, right? I just bought these, so I can't wait to play with them. There you go, gelatos. You know what? I didn't even pull out my gelatos, Tam. You can use them in the exact same way. Gelatos are another great water crayon. They're amazing. They're amazing. Gelatos. And I have a whole jar of them. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. I guess because they weren't right here with me. So there's some of that vermilion. Here's some of that lighter orange. Just get a little bit of that in there. And remember, this is just our first watery washes, right? We're going to be filling this with all kinds of color. So I want to take some of this, what was that? Purple from, and just start with my base layer of color of my seeds. And remember, this can just continue to grow and grow and grow as we go along. But take some time to kind of test them out. See, play with them and see the different ways that you can use art crayons. Because look, you can also, you've seen, like, we can color with it straight, right? Just like a crayon. So we're going to get lots of cool texture like that. We're going to get lots of, especially if you're coloring on watercolor paper, which is one of my favorite things to do. I like to do it with colored pencils. I like to do it with crayons because I like that. I love that texture of the watercolor paper coming through with my coloring. So we can paint with it as watercolor this way, scribble it on our palette and then add water. Or we can take our brush and pull some color right from the end of the crayon. And look at how much deeper that is, right? just pull it right from the end of the crayon. And that's already starting to build our deeper layer, right? But we just want to be loosey-goosey. Leave some of that lighter layer showing. Right? There we go. Do you see how this left that beautiful edge? Like that's already, it's already building some cool dimension, right? Let's try and mimic it down here on the bottom of this piece, of this side of the pomegranate. Rinse, soften that edge. There we go. Look at how beautiful, like it's already starting to build that form. Okay, we could do the same thing with the Staedtler. We can pull color this way. Build some color, some depth under here. Where that little, I don't know what that is called, the little crown of the pomegranate. Rinse our brush, come back in and soften that edge. But not at the top. I'm kind of liking how that's building a nice edge because it's, you know, because we've got a deeper edge here and then next to that something super light, and that just already starts to build that. So I'm gonna just start to, hi Beth, how are you? How are you? So I wanted to talk about a couple things today. Well, you know, a lot of things. Number one, last week in the newsletter, I posted a picture of Carmen's art journal that she made, and then she showed me how to do it too. And so I put, there's a blog post that has the instructions and links to some videos that have instructions for the binding that she chose. And this, how cool is this? She chose my Aunt Marie art printable, which is a coverall, right? And just made this amazing journal out of it. So I can, let's all make them and then we'll fill them up with who knows what. Do you know what I mean? We'll fill them up with all kinds of artsy goodness. So I haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do that all together, but if you make one, we'll do something together with those. The other thing I wanted to talk about are my new stamp releases from Unity. So we have Let Them Eat Cake, and that's a slimline. This beautiful red rubber. I just love it. So we're going to be working with these on Thursday. Paint Those Flowers, and this is the Frida set, right? With the floral paintbrush. And that is, look at that, it's a great size for a A2 or a really creative slimline. I know Miss Jan made one already. And then Blooming Bigger Wishes. So this art is perfect for an A2. And there have been so many amazing samples that have been made, cards that have been made with all three of these. So now I can't wait to try my hand at it. I just tried really hard to just take the whole weekend off this past weekend and just let my brain kind of rest from art. I mean, I did art, but like freeform art, you know? So, anywho, we're going to play with these on Thursday. Let's see, what was the other announcement. Oh, don't forget tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock Mountain Time is the release of my final state embroidery patterns from Adorn It. So I would love for you to all join me on the at the event that they're holding. I think I'm gonna mix a little bit of this orange and a little bit of this pink for this. Oh, look how pretty that is. For the outside here. Fiddle around with that a little bit. Ooh, I'm liking that. There's a little bit right there. And look at it, I already have a big old thing of blob of smear. Let's see if we can get rid of that. Going with a clean brush. Jiggy, 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 jiggy. Tap that off. Clean brush. See if we can work that out. Tap it off. It's just like if you get a stain on a blouse, you just gotta be diligent and patient and keep at it. That's not horrible. So maybe we need to paint a background with this, and then we'll get some kind of I don't know. We can get creative. I love when we do the backgrounds and then we build with colors and textures and, you know. So maybe, so let's try having a wet background with our art crayons. And I think I would really like my background to be, if I want it to pop, I want it to be a contrasting color, right? So, because we are pinks and oranges, let's try green. So we could scribble some green here on the freezer paper, add some water, make some green paint. There, oh, I'm loving that. That's pretty. I know, but practice is practice, right? I know, but you know what, Tam? I have totally, in a pinch, I will paint on anything. You know that. So if all you have is printer paper, you just learn what capabilities that printer paper has. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I could do it this way, I could do it that way. So I'm just kind of painting a rough background. Oh, you know what the one we didn't play with is the Woody's 3-in-1s from Staedtler. So let's play with those. Just a second. Let me finish this, and then you know what? I did it with a wet background and then added that, didn't I? And happy Rosh Hashanah to any of our Jewish friends. It started last night at sunset. There we go. And I believe it runs through tomorrow, maybe. But remember, pomegranates can be for anyone. Okay, so now I just have like a little bit of a wash background. Kind of digging that. I'm going to get rid of that pink dot that was right there. And another one up here. I'm going to try and scrub those away. And there Okay, I forgot to show you. So these are by Stabilo, but they are and they're called 3-in-1. So you can use them as a paint, you can use them as a crayon, and you can use them as, what's the third thing? So look at how brilliant that color is, and they are super creamy. So just know that. They, again, don't come in as many colors. They don't, you don't get a very big variety, but you can certainly, any of the ones that don't have a huge variety of colors, you can certainly mix colors. You can certainly get creative and play with, you know, it's all about practice. Just what Tammy was just talking about. It's all about experimentation and practice. You'll learn all kinds of things if you just continue to play with them, and like all of a sudden you have this amazing discovery. Okay. Woody's 3-in-1s. That you can get, like, I got the smaller pack. I think they have I think they have like a bigger pack of color choices. I think I got maybe the pack of 8. There are packs with a bigger selection. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm seeing there's a 10 pack. I think that's what I got. There's an 18 pack. Anyway, you can use them as a pencil, you can use them as a crayon, and you can use them as watercolor. I'm kind of digging them for watercolor to deepen my shadows on my background. I'm kind of digging that. So I'm just going to do that slow build. Okay, has anyone watched CBS Sunday Morning this week? Oh my gosh, there were so many good stories this time. So many good stories. I had to write them all down. So there was the butter carving. So in the Minnesota State Fair, they always have the butter carving. There was a movie that Jennifer Garner was in called Butter, and she was the butter carver. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Being a Midwest girl, it totally took me back to all those fun times. And that I grew up in a rural community, so a farming community. It was so good. It was so good, Nancy. You know what? Remember I told you you can watch them all on YouTube, the episodes on CBS Sunday Morning has a YouTube channel. And they have, this past week was a watershed of great stories. There were a few that were kind of heavy, which, you know, I try to avoid that stuff. But there were some that were amazing. Oh, today is Grandma Moses's birthday. So she is who we are going to study on during Saturdays Let's Get Artsy Together Apart artist study series. So we will wish her a happy birthday by paying tribute to her in our art journals and her amazing style. Ooh, I'm really liking this. So I'm just going to continue to, oh, everybody take a drink. I looked up and saw my water bottle. So let's see. So here's the things I learned about the butter from the butter carving segment. So the lady who has been doing it for 50 years, since 1972. How amazing is that? Her name is Linda Christensen, and she's the butter sculptor who has done, they do the queens, but they're not called queens. What are they called? Princess K. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. But anyway, she's 79 years old, and she's retiring this year. And so she handed off her carving knife that she named Old Faithful to the next person who's taking over for her as the butter sculptor. They always carve the princess and the court every year, which I thought was amazing. And they start with a 90-pound block of butter. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. So cool. What else did I see? So I'm gonna start building some more layers. Let's do some picked raspberry. See what we see. That's a little bit lighter than this one, I think, but we can just keep adding bits and bits and bits and bits, right? Oh, there was an amazing story about Richard Drew, who's an Associated Press photographer, and he talked about how his job is to record history, and that how some people might think that it's inappropriate for him to be taking pictures or whatever. And he said oftentimes, but he's recording history. And then after the event, aren't we appreciative that we have those photos to remember those times, you know? So I'm just creating a nice next layer with this color. The more layers of color like this that you add, the more depth your piece is going to have. Anyway, and it was so fascinating because he said that, hi Alana, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Anyway, it was so fascinating. He said oftentimes he isn't even aware of what he's taking a picture of, the camera, because, you know, sometimes he has to set it on fast shutter speed to just capture the moment. It was a fascinating story to listen to. And then Steve Hartman, you know, who doesn't love Steve Hartman? I swear, he's just amazing. Anyway, he did a story about this 95-year-old veteran named Frank, well, I didn't write down his last name, but anyway, he is in a nursing home, and I think his wife may be too, or maybe she just visits him often, but anyway, he carries a letter that he received years ago from a third grader, thanking him for his service. And okay, I'm adding a little bit of the orange in here to just add to the, you know, a little bit of depth, not too much. That story about I'm telling you. So anyway, so this little girl in third grade years ago wrote a letter thanking him for his service. And it was just darling, you know, it was darling in a third grader sort of way. And he sits on it in his wheelchair every day. He carries it with him every day. And really wanted to meet her. And they were unable to find her. Well, one of the staff at the nursing home was able to find her, and they finally met. And it was just the most beautiful thing. And now she is in the National Guard. And she is 21. Oh my gosh. Her name is Deshauna Priest. And I'm telling you, it was just the loveliest tearjerker story. It was so good. It was so, so good. Okay, I'm going to come in with a deeper green, which is way deeper than what we were using before, but we're going to add bits and pieces in the places where we know there's going to be shadow, right? It was so good this week, wasn't it? And if you're in my Inspire Your Heart with Art, you know you need to watch it, because we're doing CBS Sunday Morning Suns in that class, which I'm so excited about. I'm just going to keep growing and growing and growing my colors. I am going to get super brave. Yes, that was just crazy too, wasn't it, Jan? I'm going to bring in a little bit of purple. So I have a medium-ish purple and a deepish purple. And I'm going to make paint out of both. Oh, and I have this one. I'm just going to start dabbing in here, bits of that color. That's going to just start to really build even more form and depth. And it doesn't take much. And these slow layers of color really, by slowing yourself down, you're just able to concentrate on smaller bits and pieces. So where the darker bits are, I'm just slowly adding bits of color now to one end of these seeds. Not all of them, kind of randomly. But by doing that, I'm starting to build that dimension a little bit more, a little bit more. This takes a while, but the payoff is amazing. Let's try this color. Do the same thing. And I think the big key is trying to let it dry in between each layer. And if you can let it dry naturally, that's great. If not, you can absolutely use your heat tool. But this will just really grow. So now I'm going to put some more up here. When I was in art school, I had a professor who told me that everything that you paint should have a multitude of colors. That if you look at things in real life, they have a multitude of colors, that it's not all flat. And so that I try to emulate that in my card making painting too. In anything that I'm painting, I try really hard to just remember that and kind of bring that into whatever I'm creating. Because it does, so I'm just going to do the very tippity tops of these. And then the very bottom. Just like little bit by little bit. And that will automatically start to build that form that we've been talking about. That even these little bits, the little pieces that come off this crowny thing, I don't know, where it kind of curves, we want to build that form of the outside of each of those little petals, for lack of a better word. We want this to be the light, right? And we want dark here and dark here, and if we can, a little bit of light on this side and a little bit of light on that side, and that's going to create this really beautiful form. Hi Sandy, welcome, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. So let's just continue to build all these colors. Seems like there was one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. I know it was a lot. Now I'm kind of at a loss. I'm feeling like these are really starting to kind of take shape. Oh, Donna, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know, and COVID, you know, I was just talking to my mom about, it just feels like we're getting weary, aren't we? And I think that it's true. This time together is what I need too. And I bet most people here, we just need this little peaceful escape, you know? Let's get a little orange in here. Deepen that up a little bit. I think that it just helps me, certainly, put all my worries and troubles and, you know, the thing, because you never really know what another person is going through, right? You never know. But for an hour on a Tuesday and a Thursday, look what we can do. We can just be kind to one another, you know? Okay, let's try a scribble stick and bring some red into that. See what happens. This is just not... Oh, Donna, that makes my heart happy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of red. That's not bad once it, you know, it's out here in the real world, helping these bits and pieces along. Just gonna add bits of this. To all the places that might have some of that pomegranate skin. Kind of digging that. That little bit of red is really helping, I think. And then I want the white to be white, but I want it to be not so stark, maybe. Maybe it needs just a little tiny bit of color. So what if we try some yellow with a little bit of that A little bit of that pale, pale orange water that's turning slowly into paint. What if we do that? Rinse my brush, tap it off. And I'm just kind of doing the outside of it, not doing the whole thing. I just wanted something that would kind of ease us into the white. Do you know what I mean? That seems to be, there we go. Oh, it's coming together. It is, it is, it is. Tap off. It does help to get lost for an hour, doesn't it? I agree. I agree. I think we all need that, don't you think? I'm coming in with that, some of that yellow that I just mixed up, that yellowy, orangey. I think this too is kind of stark, I'm feeling. So I can cover the edge with a little bit of that watery orangey, and it's still light enough that I'm still gonna get that, you know, the contrast between the deep purple and the lighter color. I think it's helping little by little. So I hope everybody gets some art crayons out and plays with them. There's another distress crayon. Let's put a little bit of that red. Just little by little, build up that color. Little. I'm loving it. So I hope everybody pulls out some freezer paper today as a palette, and you know, just continues to, oh, look at this peeled paint. That might be cool. Look at how different that is. Oh, that's gonna add a whole different dimension to this background. I think I made it way too watery in my quest to make it not stark on my substrate. I made it way too watery, so we might have to make it a little bit deeper. But well, Donna, you just let yourself heal, you know? I think that's the crazy thing about grief, isn't it? Nobody can tell you how to, and it sounded like I was just telling you how to grieve, and I'm not. I'm just, let yourself have the time you need, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And it just takes time. That's for sure. Yeah, I think I want to Make a little more concentrated color here, and then just tap some of that in where it's already wet. There we go. Little. A little bit more in there. There we go. A little bit more. Do you see, by painting with your art crayons, do you see how little medium I'm using? Like, it's barely anything, right? Here's my palette. So it will certainly preserve your, it's a way of using your art crayons and taking advantage of all those beautiful colors. Maybe a little bit there, yeah. That's helping. Yeah, you know, my mom and dad and I were having this conversation, Donna, about funerals, and especially during COVID times, we've lost a few family members, certainly, and the ones that we were not able to have go through the process of the funeral and the funeral home visitation, being surrounded by family, because we are a family that gathers, you know, that somehow kind of like stunts the grieving process, doesn't it? It helps us to go through all of those I don't want to say procedures. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh well, it'll come back to me, honestly. It just helps us to go through the practices of, and that's not the right word either, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. It just helps us to process it all, you know? Oh my gosh, it is absolutely the 5 steps of grieving. And you don't realize you're going through it, but you are, you know? Okay, I noticed that I did not paint the brown stuff in the center. So I'm gonna try, I have a couple of distress crayon browns. A vintage photo, let's try that. What's this one? Walnut stain, that's nice and deep. And walnut stain, why do I have 2 of the same? You know what, who knows? Honest to Pete, who knows? Oh, it's a brown of the woody too. Let's see what that is. Aquarelle. Van Dyke brown. Stages of grief, they are tough. They are tough. Oh, there we go. That is pink. Bordeaux. Let's see. I think that might be my browns. Welcome, Maureen. How are you today? We are playing with art crayons today. I'm just making a little bit of watercolor paint with our art crayons. That's awfully deep, isn't it? That walnut stain. I'm not... Okay, this vintage photo, I'm feeling like let's do a little bit of that. Let that dry and then see where we're going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe we need to give the idea of some of that in here. I know I didn't draw it, but we can kind of give the hint of it. Just that little bit of brown in there. I'm liking it. It's coming along, I think. Everybody take a drink. I'm really digging this. It's kind of feeling still life-ish, don't you think? So please join me tomorrow and on the Stitch Your States embroidery patterns and kits event on Adorn-It, on Adorn-It's Facebook page. It will be a blast. It will, it will, it will. I just can hardly, this Adorn-It Stitchers, I will just tell you, to watch them go from my drawings to the pattern to someone else stitching it is just the most amazing process. I can't tell you. It's just crazy. So, I've started like just a little 20-minute stitch along on a Facebook page that I started called Stitch the States with Corbiere-Scott, where we just have 20 minutes on Wednesday morning, once a week, and we just stitch. We just stitch and chat. So we just have that. Remember we had to talk about the 20 minutes of daydreaming and a low-key activity, and I just think what's better than slow stitching, you know? I just think that would be a great way to start a Wednesday, you know? So I'll do that tomorrow morning, and then in the afternoon we'll have the event, and you'll get to see all of the new, the last, I think there's 6, maybe, the last of the 50. And then I have a new something I'm working with them on. Again, they're the best company to work with. They are. How is everybody doing? Did anybody paint with me today, or are you just listening to me yammer on about whatever? This is my stream of consciousness talking. I'm feeling like I'm really liking the direction that this is going. That seemed a little bit, starting to puddle up a little bit. Pull some of that off. Remember that your brush is kind of like, it'll soak up water or paint. So if you kind of dry it a little bit and you just tap your brush on there, it'll soak up what's there. So it's kind of a slow way to remove some color. Yeah, you do. You do need to let it dry, Tam. But if you know, you can let it dry and then stick it in between 2 books, and before you know it, it'll be flat as a board. I adore everyone. I am so grateful, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, that you come and just hang with me for an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It is so appreciated. And it just fills me up. It just fills up my heart and soul. I adore all of you. Well, thanks, Keels. Thank you. I wish we were painting together. I miss you like mad. I wish we could all paint together. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just all sitting around my kitchen table. Oh, I would love it. I would love it. So until tomorrow in Stitch the States, I hope that everybody has a tremendous Tuesday, or a terrific Tuesday, whichever direction you want to go. And I hope that, yeah, let's have an event someday. That would be great, wouldn't it? Start planning it now in my head. I have all kinds of things like that that just kind of swirl around in my head. I hope everybody had an amazing time today. I hope that you found something inspiring and something helpful, and that you will, you know, go out and paint your Carmel art printable today and in a new and funky way. That you'll play with art crayons, learn new fun things that you can do with them, and just, you know, walk on the sunny side of the street. That's my favorite place. Thank you so much, everyone. I adore you all. Bye.